Lane Hurst, senior pitcher. Judge Shonda, senior outfielder.
Nick Allmiller, senior, right field.
Austin Paget, senior, first baseman.
Chris Cole, starting catcher.
Casey Wallace, junior, third baseman.
Tyler Groves, junior, shortstop. Caleb Terrell, sophomore, second baseman. Will Hitchcock, sophomore, outfielder. Phil Wallace, sophomore, outfielder.
Derek Grantham, sophomore, utility.
This year's team looks to build on the success of previous years and last year. We've got some pretty good experience around the diamond. We had a pretty good fall, and we look to build on that this year. Pitching wise, our success I think is going to largely depend on how deep and how well our pitching staff can be. We got Lane Hurst, that's our number one, anchored our pitching staff this fall and looks to do the same this spring for us. You know, competes well, goes out there and throws strikes, and if our defense will play behind him, then he can win us some games. After that on the mound, we've got Dylan Jordan, who was probably our number two this fall. Strike thrower, has developed into a pretty decent pitcher, and once again, he's just a strike thrower, and if our defense can play behind him, then I think we should be all right, and that's what we did well this fall, is threw strikes and played defense, and that was kind of the recipe for our success. Caleb Terrell, probably our number three, will probably compete for that number two spot. He's still learning to kind of keep his emotions in check. He's a sophomore, a great competitor, and kind of gets down on himself, a little bit too hard on himself, I guess you could say, but he's a great competitor and a great player, and has really worked hard this offseason in the weight room, and we're seeing that early this spring with his bat. And he's throwing a little harder for us on the mound, but he's got 3 pitches he throws for strikes. Man, once again, he's not going to blow it by anybody, but if our defense plays behind him, he's going to try to work ahead and attack hitters. And if he can throw strikes for us and our defense plays behind him again, then he should be pretty successful. Rounding out the pitching staff still, we've got Tyler Groves, who plays shortstop for us a little bit, some second base, some third base. I think this fall he played just about every infield position but first base and catcher, but just a great utility player, as well as a pitcher. He's trying to iron some things out on the mound, but he's taking some steps and some baby steps so far this spring and late in the fall. He'll be in the mix as far as the rotation goes for us. He's a junior. He really knows the game well. Like I said, he can play a number of positions and plays them well. He's not just out there because we have to have him, but he knows the game at every position and does a good job for us. Austin Paget got a few innings for us this last fall. Looks to get some more innings for us this spring. Needs to work on keeping the ball down a little bit, but if he does that, he can be pretty effective. Plays first base for us as well, and does a good job over there. His footwork around the bag is pretty good for a big guy. He can go up and get a high throw and make a tag. He's pretty good at digging the ball out of the dirt, and is hit the ball pretty well for us. He'll probably hit in the middle of the order behind Lane. If Lane's 3, he'll probably be 4. And having him back there behind Lane really helps out because people are kind of forced to pitch to Lane a little more. But he drives the ball well to all fields. He's got a pretty quick bat and does a good job for us in that number 4 or 5 hole. Kind of still on the pitching aspect, Derek Grantham is kind of an up-and-comer. He pitched a lot of JV last year, but got a few varsity innings. I say last year, I mean in the fall. And he's looked fairly good so far this spring early. Just a strike thrower and keeps the ball down. He's got a good downward angle on his fastball and a little movement, and is developing some off-speed pitches, but throws strikes and, pitches to contact. And, that's kind of the name of the game at this level, is don't put people on and you're not going to get hurt too bad. But he's done a great job for us and can also play a little outfield and play a little second base for us too if we need him. And then we got a freshman, Caleb Etheridge. Probably get some, definitely some JV pitching time and possibly a little bit of varsity time, just depending on how the season goes. But he's a hard-working kid. Will give you max effort every time. He's got some polishing up to do, but he's only a freshman, so we look for him to get better and better as his career goes on. And that's about it as far as pitching staff goes. We may have a couple of guys emerge that I haven't talked about. Chris Cole, he was our catcher this fall. He could give us some innings. I think he had a couple innings this last fall too, so he's very capable, but don't like to pull a lot of double duty with pitchers and catchers. So, in a pinch, if we need him to, or if we need a spot start or something like that, then he's available to pitch as well. And then our other catcher, potential catcher is Johnny Mayhew. He is a freshman this year, but big, strong kid, just raw as far as his skills go catching wise. But he's a hard-working kid, and he's so far this early this spring he's hit the ball pretty well, and so he'll be between him and Chris. They'll be competing for that catching job, and which is a good thing because they've both been pushing each other so far early in the spring season. He's a hard-working kid, like I said, and really takes coaching well and listens, and they've been working hard. I know Coach Walls has been putting them through a bunch of drills every day and trying to get them better, and so far they've responded and done just that. Third base, Casey Wallace Jr. played there for us this fall, and as of right now will probably be our starting third baseman once we start playing. He's gotten a lot better as far as his defense goes. With balls to his left and right, he's swinging the bat a little bit more with a little more authority early this spring. He'll probably hit somewhere between 6, 7 or so, 8 maybe down in the order, but this fall he did a great job at putting the ball in play, moving runners, and he's really worked hard, it looks like, in the off-season in the weight room, and has added some strength and is kind of driving the ball a little bit more for us this spring. Shortstop will be anchored by Lane Hurst when he's not pitching, and when he is pitching it'll probably be Tyler Groves there. But both those guys, we'll talk about Lane first. He's got, for a big guy, I think he's about 6'2" or so, but he's got tremendous range and a tremendous first step. He's a lot quicker than he looks and what people give him credit for. He's really turned himself into a solid shortstop. Goes up the middle well, can go to his backhand, and has a strong arm to throw across the diamond. And Tyler, kind of the same way. Like I said, he's got a lot of skills on defense. He can play a number of infield positions, but he's really got soft hands and good athleticism at shortstop. Second base will probably be Caleb Terrell. He needs a little bit of confidence, I think, at second base. He's swinging the bat well for us so far. At second base, he still kind of looks a little bit timid, so we need to get him to be a little more aggressive and more confident, I think. But he's very capable of playing it. We had him there most of the fall. He did all right for us. Had some good games, had some bad games, but he's a sophomore, so that's kind of to be expected. But having that season under his belt, or having that fall season under his belt, we look for him to mature maybe a little bit more and take the bull by the horn, so to speak, and be a little more aggressive and have confidence that I want to be the guy. And we think he can do it, and that's why he's out there. But I think he just needs a little bit of that confidence. Got some quickness and some athleticism at second base, which always helps. I think he'll play and do a good job for us at second. Moving towards first base is Austin Paget, senior. I talked about him a little bit earlier, but he's got good footwork around the bag, works hard, can go up and get it if it's a high throw, and stays down and scoops it if it's not, and has bailed a lot of our infielders out, with his bag skills. Swings the bat pretty well, can drive it to all fields. He's a tough out and tough to pitch to, doesn't strike out very much, and did a good job this fall and last season hitting behind Lane in that 4-hole. If people walk Lane, then he's always a threat to steal, and he can score from first if Austin hits one in the gap, which happened quite a bit. So he's a good hitter to have behind Lane, and has really worked hard, and he's a good leader, good team leader for us. Moving to the outfield, we got Nick Allmiller, who just signed with Evangel in right field. Once again, just a great kid, works hard, another team leader. Always seems to have a smile on his face and is happy and really looks like he's enjoying being out here. It's never looks like it's a drag, but worked really hard to make himself a good right fielder, and he's been a right fielder for the last couple of years. He's in the lineup. He's hit anywhere from 2 to 8 or 9. But handles the bat well, can bunt, rarely strikes out. He's not a power guy, but can hit behind runners and controls the barrel pretty well. Right now I'm thinking he'll probably be in the 2-hole, hitting behind Jet, who plays center field for us. Leadoff hitter and great speed, kind of a line drive, pesky hitter. Fouls off a lot of pitches, has good at bats, and then once he gets on base, and you look up and he's at third because he's got so much speed. He can steal second, he can steal third, he can go first and third on ground ball through the right side or so, and is always a threat to run. we really worked with him on trying to take that extra base and reading dirt balls and just using his speed to our advantage. Plays center field, really goes and gets it. Good guy to have in center because he takes control and he knows he's fast, and especially on a field like ours with a lot of room in center field, he really goes and gets it and trusts the corner outfielders to let him know, you know, on a play at the fence or something like that. They really communicate well. Moving over to left field is Dylan Jordan. We kind of moved him out there this fall just to kind of free up a spot for Caleb Terrell. We were kind of struggling in left field, and Dylan was out there one day in practice shagging and was just all over the place catching everything. So, well, why don't we try Dylan out there? And, you know, he's looked pretty good. Still kind of getting comfortable, so to speak, out there. But, you know, so far this spring, he's really been a tremendous leader for us and has kind of stepped up. He's always been not real quiet, but, you know, just kind of not been your typical leader. But now, you know, he's a senior his senior year, and he's really stepped up. Been a positive leader and is getting these guys going, and is working hard, taking extra fly balls and extra ground balls and working on his angles and working on his routes out there in left field. And you know, I think he's going to be just fine out there. He did the job for us this fall without much problem, so I think he'll be all right for us. He'll probably hit towards the middle of the order. You know, he's kind of worked hard in the weight room this off season, just like a lot of our guys have, and you can tell we've added a little pop to our bats and you know, a little quickness to our bats, and you know, I think it's going to be a good thing for us. Another player that may get some time in left field is Cale Wallace. He's a sophomore. He's Casey Wallace's younger brother. Really good athlete. Just needs to add some strength, you know, at the plate, but he's a contact hitter right now and runs pretty well, but you know, he'll compete for a left field job. We're going to look at that today a little bit, actually, and putting him in left and kind of mixing some things up. But he'll get a shot in left field and be, you know, on our radar and compete for that job as well. We've got some I can't remember how many freshmen we have right off the top of my head, but we've got a bunch of freshmen that are pretty skilled, and some sophomores too, and a couple juniors that are going to push these older guys. And even those guys that are JV now, so to speak, are going to push those guys and, you know, hopefully create some positive competitiveness within the team, and hopefully that'll force these guys in the varsity and even the guys in the JV, because we've got some extra guys that can move into those roles that they'll kind of try to work their way in, and if they get their shot, then make the most of it and try to be ready to go. But you know, we're looking forward. We have a jamboree on Saturday. We're looking forward to playing somebody else besides ourselves after a couple inter squads, and